I am a long distance runner, and there is a saying that I have found enormously helpful in long distance running, which is to realize that the first 10 minutes are the worst. So no matter how long I have been at this running game, when I start out putting foot to pavement, I am consumed with worries and thoughts that try to derail my running. I worry about a cramp developing in my side. I think that I can't breathe properly. I'm pretty sure I have to go to the bathroom even though I just went before I left. And all of those kilometers that I have planned stretch endlessly in front of me. There's a term that I have learned, a mental fitness term in long distance running, that has helped overcoming the hurdle of all of those worries of the first 10 minutes. And that term is ultrarealism. Now, ultrarealism recognizes that we can spend so much time and energy as a runner worried about what might be coming around the corner, or worried about what is next, or wishing that things could be different. But ultrarealism asks instead that we see, accept, and embrace what is actually happening. So we look at the actual moment, the actual circumstances in front of us, and then we make our choices as a runner accordingly. Now, I don't think that you have to be a long distance runner or a rocket scientist to see how ultrarealism might apply to other aspects of our life. How as human beings, we can invest so much energy in wishing and worrying and miss the moment that actually is. For us in the life of the church, whether we're leaders in the church or whether we are participants in the life of the church, there's an analogy here too that I have found enormously helpful for how we think about our communities of faith. I like to consider the ultra-real church and what that might offer us as people of faith. I think for us who are part of the mainline church, so much of the past decades of the life of the church has been consumed with worry around institutional decline. And so much of that worry weighs heavily on us as congregations and as leaders in those congregations. However, what happens in the ultra-real church when we see, accept, and embrace what is actually happening, rather than investing so much time in striving for this hypothetical vision of the church that we can never actually attain or measure up to? When we start with that seeing piece, when we're willing to get ultra real about what is actually happening, we discover something simple, powerful, and life-giving, which is that the church is nothing but stories. We are nothing but stories of how God has met us in the mess and messed up realities of our lives, and how right now, without us having to do anything to make it happen, God is already at work in us. When we can start there, when we can put our love and our devotion and our service and our strength and our energy there in what God is doing, then it becomes amazingly freeing for us in the life of the church to then continue on that walk of faith. Because the reality is that the kingdom of God is already happening. We don't need to make it happen. We don't need to manage it into happening. We don't need to manufacture it. It's happening. With or without us, it's happening. In that ultra-real place, we can then go forward as disciples of Christ and as communities of faith where God is already at work and powerful and healing and transforming.